I was fearless, or so I thought. I was filled with exuberance as a child. My father, my mother, my brother and sister, we would travel to Florida every year. And for 2 weeks, we got to go to the beach. Our grandparents lived in West Palm Beach, and they lived on a golf course. So our backyard was playing on a fairway on the 15th hole, running around as kids, having a sense of freedom that I didn't truly understand until I got older. I would always walk in the garage and I would see buckets of golf balls. And I didn't understand how my grandfather would have 2 5-gallon buckets of golf balls, but they were always there. Later in life, I would find out that he really made a pretty good secondary income as he would take those golf balls back to the clubhouse and he would sell them back to the course. And so that's how he would make some extra money. We would go to the beach and I looked forward to it. One of the things I recall most memorable was crossing the street and looking at the flag that was up that day. If it was a green flag, it meant that the water was safe. If it was a yellow flag, it meant that the water was kind of rough. If it was a red flag, we weren't allowed to swim. Then occasionally we would see the blue flag, which indicated that there were man-o-war or jellyfish in the water. It's probably just a good idea to stay out of it. But we always found fun in taking sand and dropping it on top of the jellyfish and watching them pop. Probably wasn't a good idea, but we thought it was fun and humorous. So as we stopped going to Florida, I still had this passion of getting in the water. There were many years that my brother and I, along with a group of 15 to 20 other people, would go to West Virginia every year. We would whitewater raft, Class 5 rapids in the Upper Gully. What turned into an 8-man boat became a 6-man boat. And then a few years later, we thought that we were really dangerous and adventurous and extremists. So then we would consolidate that into a 4-man boat, which was an extreme rafting experience. And so the river was 7 miles long. It would take all day, where we would put in, each year in September, they would open the gully and the dam, and there was just this astronomical force, cubic meters of water just blasting where everybody put their rafts in, and that would trigger us down the river for the day. And then periods of the river, there would be a Class 5 rapid, and there were 5 class rapids. And sometimes in those rapids, we'd actually get dumped, and not knowing whether or not we were going to make it or live, where we would come out, what side of the water we would come out of, whether we hit a rock or whatever it was. But that was just the fear of being a part of that kind of experience. Probably in my mid-20s, as I got older, my brother, we did a lot of things together. Went to Vegas, bungee jumped off of a 17-foot story building. Thought that was really cool, seeing nothing but concrete below us, and a swimming pool that looked like the size of, a fingernail. But as you got closer, everything got bigger. And, finally, when we catapulted and projected back up, I knew that I wasn't going to die, and that was a pretty cool experience. And then one year we went swimming, and we were at a lake in Ohio. There was a bunch of us. We got on a boat, and we came up to this embankment, and there was a kind of like a rock wall, if you will, that protruded out of the side of the embankment of the lake. And we parked the boat, and we got out of it, and walked up the side of the ramp. And as we got to the top of the platform, something just kind of didn't feel right for me. It was the first time in my life where I really felt like this probably isn't a good idea. But I proceeded to move forward, and with every step that I took moving forward, I had this sense of, really isn't good. You should probably take a couple steps back. And so while everybody was jumping, I was walking, and I was tiptoeing because I was getting closer to the edge, which is the first time that fear had actually overcome and taken me. And so while everybody jumped, I turned around and I walked back, and I got in the boat and decided not to do that. But I lost that sense of being fearless that day. When I moved out to California, I had a friend that I was living with, took me down to the beach and reminded me of my childhood days. The water was rough. I was thinking of the yellow flag. And I had a boogie board. I didn't have fins, but I was thinking I was a kid. And I was brave enough and I was strong enough to face the ocean that looked so little to me. One day I didn't realize it was a rip, but I'm new out here from Ohio. And I get out there on the boogie board. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I'm waiting for that big wave that I'm going to take in that's going to pound me to the ground like Tyson did his opponents. But I kept drifting out further and further and further. The next thing I know, I'm sitting on the side of my boogie board. I'd fallen off, but I'd gotten back on, and I was thinking, kind of getting pretty far away from here. And so as I tried to make my way back in, I just really wasn't moving. I really didn't know how to manage the water. All of a sudden, in front of my face, I got this lifeguard. He says, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "I'm swimming, trying to catch a wave." He says, "I suggest you just do this." And this was wave in my face, and he's there and all of that stuff. And I got in, made it safely. It's the last time I've been swimming in the ocean. I won't do it anymore. I won't let my kids go in the ocean past their kneecaps. And I don't even barely put my feet in them. But I learned that day, there's more to life than swimming and being fearless. I'm okay with being fearful about the great unknown, and that's in the ocean. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.